TxStampin Sharon. On today's video, we're going to be talking about a new product medley called Botanical Prints. I've been having a great time with it and I have lots of tips to share with you. So make sure you stay with me because there's a lot of fun things to learn that will help make this product medley so much easier when you get yours. If you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you. I invite you to hit the subscribe button below and then hit the notification bell. In the description box below, you will also find ways to contact me, sign up for my newsletters, as well as my store for your online shopping. All right, let's get started with this medley. I just have to show off something that is in the mini catalog that started January 3rd. It is called the Botanical Prints Medley. And a medley means that it has a lot of things in it that you can use to make a lot of cards. I love medleys. Stampin Up came out with one in the holiday catalog. And my little Stampin' group, we had a blast with that thing. I think we got together and we made like 12 cards. And then they went home and made a bunch more. So the reason I want to highlight this is this picture's kind of small. You're like, well, what do you get in there? Let me show you. So first of all, you get the stamp set and you get the dies, and this little cute little die right here, this set could be used to cut out corners and all of that. And I wanted to show you this before I tore into it and started playing. Then we have the other dies for the leaves and smaller leaves and probably some fruit. I don't know what that one does. Oh yeah, the fruit, okay? All right. Then you get these cute little trinkets that are dragonflies. I don't know if you can tell, but they're dragonflies. So you get a bunch of those. And it's my favorite. It's copper. Then you get these little dies. So little sentiment layers that you just pop out. Easily. So you just pop those out. And then we have these dies that just pop out. And you just add adhesive and stick it on the card. How easy is that going to be? Then we have some ribbon. This is an old olive. It's a twill ribbon. Okay, so twill ribbon. Beautiful. It feels great. Then we have these little die cuts. So I could use the white side or the pretty peacock side. And then there's the paper. Okay. I'm a nut for designer series papers, and I always love the fact that Stampin' Up does two different sides. So the first side is colored, okay? So everything has color, but the back side, and I have a friend here, her name is Jane, so I'm doing a little shout out to her. She loves to color. I can just see her coloring this whole thing. And so the other side is black and white, and there's my black and white stripes that I love. And then there's that print, and that print, and then there's some more things for Jane to color. All right, so I just had to share this with you, and now I'm going to share with you my cards. First, I'm going to show you how to make this fun fold card, okay? But we're going to make some changes to it so that I don't end up with two exact cards to be able to send to my friends, okay? Again, I'm using the Botanical Prints, and I already shared with you everything that comes in the medley. I have some great tips for you, not only with the stamps, but with that paper. So I will share those in just a moment. So I have all my supplies ready. Let's go through them. I have a layer of Daffodil Delight that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I have a layer of Whisper White that is 4 inches by 5 1/4. I have a piece of the Designer Series paper that is 2 inches by 4 inches. I have 2 more pieces. This one is 2 1/2 by 3 by 2 1/2. And then this one is 2 1/2 by 2 3/4. Really close. It looks like a square, but it's not. I have a strip of Daffodil Delight that's just 1/2 inch by 4 inches. And then I have some of those dies that I shared with you that I just popped out. My 2 pieces of Daffodil Delight that I've already got cut and scored measure 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then this bigger piece is 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. And I have scored them on the 1/2 inch mark, okay? So let's go ahead and start assembling our card. I want my snail to be right on the edge, especially on my sides. So I have placed it on my silicone mat. And then this piece is going to go, oh, I don't know, about 3/4 of the inch. Let's see. Let's just place it down so you'll see. So I want this one here, and then I want this one to overlap. And I want about 1/4 of an inch, or maybe about 1/2 inch, I guess, on the top and the bottom, okay? We're just gonna wrap this around. Like that. And then you want to make sure that you give it a good crease on the back. We want these flaps to stay down as best they can. And then you want to make sure that you give it a good crease on the back. We want these flaps to stay down as best as they can because we're not using any ribbon to keep this closed. Okay, so now I'm going to add some snail on those flaps so that that does not fall apart. We're going to center this on our Daffodil Delight layer. Flaps are staying down pretty good. So this time, like I said, we're going to change it up. Sometimes when I do this in the middle of the video, I'm like, I don't know, is that going to work? But we'll see. I think I gave you the wrong measurement on this one. This one is 3 inches by 3 1/2. I will have in the description box below all of the correct measurements. You know, sometimes I get to making the video and I think I remember things, but I'd trust the description box below if I were you. So I really liked the idea of having the 2 different patterns together, and I kept trying to play with different ones, and so that's how I came up with this fold. And I wanted to continue that pattern. So this layer is going to go at the bottom. So I have 3 other cards to share with you, and on those cards, I'm going to give you some great tips that you're going to thank me for, I'm sure. I always like to use a piece of ribbon or a piece of cardstock just to help whenever I'm breaking something up like that. So while we have our card open, we're going to stamp the word. And you want to make sure that you stamp into this area right here so that when we close that flap, you don't see your words hanging off the top. Make sense? So now I'm going to bring in my sentiment layer. Just stamping with black memento ink. So now here comes the fun part. We get to decide, do we want that there? Do we want this here? I didn't want to cover up too much of the print, but I'm thinking that that works well like that. And then the other thing is, do we want to leave these like they are? Which, I don't know, I just feel like coloring them kind of ties into this. So we're going to color them. I'm just using the Daffodil Delight Stampin' Right marker. It doesn't matter, you can use Stampin' Blends or the marker because this is printed. It's not an ink. You don't have to worry about it being StazOn or Memento. It's very, very nice that you don't have to think about that. I am going to leave the leaves black, I think. Let's see how we want to do that. I don't know. I think we need to color the leaves. I'm using Old Olive, the lighter color. I found that using the dark on these printed leaves is just too much. We're going to add dimensionals to the back of our sentiment layer. And we're going to add enough snail on just this part to stick onto this. I'm always here for you, friend. Love it. Love it. All right, let's go through the other cards and all the other tips I have for you. So on this card, I did pull in one other item. On all the cards, I tried to stick to just what came in the medley, except for the card bases. I did add, you know, the card bases and all of that. But on this one, I pulled in the Label Me Lovely punch. It just was a great big solid piece because if I just used the label by itself, it kind of got lost in the lighter color over here. So I just pulled in some pretty peacock. I punched out some, I die cutted out some of the leaves, and then I cut the berries, which was the stamp. Okay, so I stamped it and just colored the berries with pretty peacock. On this one, I did use the die that came with it just to offset and to give it a little bit of a layer so that I didn't lose this in all of the lighter color of this card. Now let's talk about this card. Okay, so I colored the flowers with the Daffodil Delight marker. I colored the leaves with the lighter of the Old Olive. And then, remember this piece that I shared with y'all? I took a sponge and I colored it with Tangerine Tango. And then what I've discovered, which made it so fun, this print from the Designer Series paper and the die cuts it out perfectly. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? So I didn't have to stamp. I could have, but why? I liked the idea that it had the Tangerine Tango in the background to match my paper here. Then I tied my bow and stuck it on. Instead of trying to tie the ribbon, I just tied a separate bow and popped it on with a glue dot. I sure hope I've inspired you for the Botanical Prints Product Medley, because with all that paper that comes in there, I could make a million cards, I'm sure. If you need any help purchasing this medley, like I said, you can go to the description box below, find my store, and I will have the product medley item code in the description box below as well. All right, guys, happy stamping, y'all.